Kia ora. In this kiriata, we'll share some kōrero on tangi processes which are connected to marae. We're at Arahura Marae on Te Taipōtini today, and it's important to know that tangi can and will look different depending on location, region, iwi or hapu, religion or beliefs, venue, whānau, and many other variables, and even the best laid plans can change in the moment. A reminder, we are not experts in this matter. This kōrero will be incomplete and imperfect, and we encourage further research and kōrero to ensure you are following appropriate tikanga and or kawa for any marae you connect to. Let's start with a quick kōrero about traditional tangihanga processes and tikanga. Many of the processes and tikanga from tangihanga pre-colonisation are still observed or echoed in the processes and tikanga we see utilised today. These may include ohaki or a last speech on the deathbed. Traditionally, these could contain both legal and political elements and act as final instructions and wishes. Karakia at various stages, washing and dressing the tūpāpaku, whai kōrero, karanga and waiata for the specific context of tangi, allowing the kirimate to focus solely on grieving with no other roles or responsibilities for the duration of the tangi, completing tangi processes with kai. Let's kōrero about the definitions of tikanga and kawa. When we talk about tikanga, we're referring to general ideas and customs or the correct way to do things. There can be room to move with tikanga. When we talk about kawa, we're referring to particular tikanga, which have been more clearly defined by a particular group or place. There is less room to move when it comes to kawa, and so seeking clarity is key. Others may use tikanga and kawa differently, so make sure you're aware of this as you discuss tikanga and kawa with those around you. Let's explore what tangi processes can look like on the marae. Before considering tangi on your marae, we would also encourage whānau to consider forming and maintaining a reciprocal relationship with your marae throughout your life. Head along to the working bees, send koha if you can't be there in person, prioritise going home as often as you can. When the time comes to make contact for tangihanga, you can work with your marae to understand the logistics of timing and costs, as well as any specific tikanga and kawa to be aware of. After all tangi processes are completed, consider how you can reciprocate the support given by the marae and whānau. This may look like offering kai and koha over and above any costs paid for the marae, especially when thinking about whānau members who have volunteered hours and days to support you through the tangi. When you arrive at the marae with your tūpāpaku, there will likely be a pōwhiri to welcome the tūpāpaku and kirimate. This may follow a similar order to pōwhiri in other contexts, with the tūpāpaku being the centre of all karanga, kōrero and waiata. During the pōwhiri, the tūpāpaku will be placed on the marae. The actual placement of tūpāpaku can vary between marae. It is best to check with your marae where this will be. If you are laying kākahu on the tūpāpaku or casket, please be aware that the way that these are laid will determine if they then need to be buried with the tūpāpaku or not. If placing photos around the casket, please ensure these are only photos of those who have already passed away. There will likely be mattresses around the casket to ensure that those sitting with the tūpāpaku are comfortable. After the initial pōwhiri to bring the tūpāpaku and kirimate onto the marae, there may be other pōwhiri during the tangi. Work with the marae to understand if these need to happen at specific times or if ope are able to arrive as and when they are able to. Having specific times can help the kai karanga, kai kōrero and ringawera to know when to expect ope. Set up fresh water at all exits from the place the tūpāpaku is laying. You can add leaves or ferns. Make sure to change the water regularly to keep it fresh, especially for larger tangi. There is no set length for a tangi. The kirimate and marae can work together to determine what is best based on a variety of factors. It is common for there to be karakia or inoi each evening during tangi on marae. The final night of a tangi on a marae will often be a space to share stories, memories and waiata. This may be referred to as the pō whakamutunga, poroporoaki or pō whakangaho. This evening can be a time for the kirimate to feel some ease or a lighter energy before the final day of the tangi. On the final day of the tangi, the casket is often closed in the morning before sunrise. This can allow a more intimate space for close whānau and friends before larger groups arrive for the final service. How this service looks will differ for each individual depending on their wishes and beliefs. It may include elements such as ministers, hymns, a eulogy and or readings. After this, the procession occurs for committal. The casket is carried out and transported to the urupa or off for cremation. At the urupa, the casket is lowered in with a burial service, which may include karanga, speeches and waiata before the grave is filled in. People will whakanoa sprinkling themselves with water before leaving the urupa. While the kiremate are at the urupa or crematorium, the haukainga will reset the wharenui, giving it a physical tidy up and reciting karakia to begin to remove the tapu of mate. When the whānau return to the marae, they are welcomed back to the world of living through pōwhiri. Finally, everybody enjoys a hākiri or feast. This is the final piece to complete the process of the tangihanga and return everybody to a state of noa. The setting and rising of matariki or puanga and the passing of a calendar year can be times to return to the marae and acknowledge those who have passed. There are a range of ceremonies and tikanga connected to these moments. We hope that the kōrero we've shared here has helped you to understand a little more about what tangihanga held on marae can look like or might entail. We have another video about holding tangihanga at home that you may also want to watch alongside this one. If you are interested in hearing more about some behind-the-scenes things to take into consideration for tangi, check out our video and resource for supporting kiremate. We encourage you to share these videos and resources with whānau and friends to help us all normalise these important kōrero. Tēnā rā koutou I te mātakitaki mai. Disclaimer. How to Tangi resources are intended as a starting point for further research and discussion with your whānau and community about death, dying and tangihanga or funerals, not as a complete guide. The information in this resource is current as at April 2025 and accurate to the best of our knowledge. Reo Māori Mai assumes no responsibility or liability for actions taken based on any of our How to Tangi content or of any other sources linked in this content. For more information and to see other How to Tangi resources, visit www.reomāorimai.co.nz/pages/How to Tangi. We would like to thank everybody who has been involved in the creation of these resources, especially to our funders. Tēnā koutou katoa.